Trevor Bauer is with us tonight on MLB Tonight. Great to have you here. I've long admired your independent streak. You're doing your own thing. So now we can ask you. I think it's been fascinating watching the evolution of sabermetrics, where it's become very scouty, very applicable information in the war between the pitcher and the batter. Give us an idea of your toolbox. What tools do you use when you're in the middle of a season? What things do you use to gain an edge?
Well, there's a lot of stuff. Let's start in game. I have a certain pitch mix that I can go into every game with, and every pitcher has their individual pitch characteristics and their repertoire. How do I utilize that the best? That's what I spend a lot of my time doing. Where do I try to throw these pitches to give myself the best opportunity of being successful? And the scouting reports that I get, I've worked with the Indians to develop them, is let me see a heat map of where my individual pitches play the best against the league. Mm-hmm. Let me see where this hitter performs against pitches that are similar to mine, similar velocities, similar movements, and then we overlay them. And so I can see, if it's bright blue, that means that's my strength and his weakness. If it's bright red, that's my weakness and his strength. I can get it by pitch type. I can get it by count. I can get it by whatever different metrics I want to look at. And it creates a very good visual of, this is exactly where I want to throw this pitch type, and this is exactly where I want to throw that one to be most effective against each individual hitter.
So you work on that with the baseball ops people, your coaches, pitching coaches? Who does that with you?
Yeah, we're all linked in on it together. The front office pulls the stats, creates this report, talk with the pitching coach about it, talk with the catchers about it, so we're all on the same page. Hey, this guy we're going to attack primarily with fastball, curveball. This guy hits curveballs in the zone pretty well, so if we need to throw a breaking ball for a strike, let's throw a slider or a cutter. Stuff like that. So kind of combining the typical ways of doing scouting reports where the pitching coach is talking to the pitcher, hey, I've seen this, I've seen that, with this advanced analytics stuff that we know, okay, this is going to give you the best chance of being successful. It's not always going to work, but this will give you the best chance with your stuff to get this guy out.
How about sequencing? How deep do you dig into that as to what pitch should follow which pitch?
Yeah, so there's a ton of research that I've done on that over the last 10 years probably, starting back when I was in college. The idea is to take away as many of the hitter's early cues as possible. The first thing the first thing that hitters can see is change in your body. So if I tilt off on a curveball or I'm lower on a fastball or something, that gives them an early indication of what I'm throwing. So let's get my mechanics to be consistent. Then how does the ball actually come out of my hand, the trajectory of it? Tunneling has been thrown around quite a bit. It's kind of become part of the lexicon in baseball. But the ball coming out of your hand, hitters can see up and down very easily. They see left to right a little bit, but not as much. So if I can minimize the hump that a pitch has, then that takes away another layer of information that they have. So they're making their decision on whether to swing and where the ball is and what pitch it is later and later, which gives me, the pitcher, an advantage.
So you're trying to stay, correct me if I'm a little off here, as neutral and clean as you can be, right? So everything is coming out exactly the same, but it's doing different things.
Correct, yeah. So my whole pitch repertoire has been designed specifically, each pitch has been designed specifically to do a certain thing, all centered around, I want to be able to throw it and start it off right down the middle. So that the two-seam runs, gets to the arm side. The cutter cuts, gets to the glove side. The four-seam can stay centered up above the zone. I can throw what looks like one of those pitches, but it's a changeup and it kind of dives down arm side. Or it's a slider and it dives down glove side. Or it's a curveball that dives down below the zone. So I want to be able to throw everything basically right down the middle and just let the movement get to the spot that I'm trying to hit.
And in the offseason, now let's just step back a minute. In the offseason, you engineered a new pitch.
Yep.
Tell us about, and you engineered a pitch that you wanted to work off your other pitches, correct?
Yeah, so I had a hole in my repertoire. I could work hard, fastball, cutter, two-seam, and I could split the plate this way. And I could work soft with a changeup, arm side, and below the zone, but I couldn't work soft off the plate, glove side. So I had to develop a slider that had some lateral movement and not too much depth, so it didn't blend with my curveball. So I came up with, a slider that was working in the off-season. Hold it kind of like this, and I threw that kind of the first month or two of the season. It worked really well in the off-season, and then as soon as I got out of spring training, as soon as the season hits, I lost feel of it. Kind of what we were talking about with Kimbrel earlier. Sometimes you just lose feel of the breaking ball. But because I designed it and I knew the different reasons why it was moving, how it was moving in the off season, I was able to kind of get that back quicker. So I started off holding it kind of deep in my hand with a lot of tension on it, like this, and it wasn't coming out of my hand quite early enough, and so I was kind of dragging it down, so it had more of like a bullet spin axis to it, so it wasn't getting the movement that I wanted.
How did you find that? On video?
Video, yeah.
Okay.
High-speed camera, the Edgertronic cameras. I've been using it since 2013, I think. It's probably the first person in baseball to be using it. But it shoots it up to, I mean, whatever frame rate. I usually film at 1,500 to 2,000 frames per second, so I can see exactly how the ball is coming off my hand, what finger touches it last, positioning, stuff like that.
Is this it here, or what are you throwing here? That's what we're looking at. Oh, just saw a few.
Yeah,
good.
probably
That
the
was breaking
curveball.
outside. Yeah, okay.
So I noticed it was staying in my hand too long, so I changed my grip a little bit, moved my thumb underneath the ball so that the ball could escape my hand a little bit easier, a little bit earlier. And this is the grip that felt most comfortable with having my thumb under the ball, which coincidentally is actually exactly how Kluber and Clevenger throw their lateral breaking pitch. So I switched to this. The lateral movement of the pitch about doubled as the season went along. It averaged about 9 inches lateral.
And you're studying all this, how much it is breaking for you.
Yeah, every
as it
start,
goes along.
inning by inning.
Wow.
I know in game, hey, it's only moving 5 inches today. All right, well, I got to use that a little bit differently. If I'm trying to locate that way off the plate and it's only moving 4 inches, that's starting off the plate. But if it's moving 9, I can locate it the same and I know it's starting on the plate.
Okay.
So all this stuff in game is I try to utilize it to my advantage.
This is great. Give me one more thing. When you're getting hit, what's your checklist as to, why am I getting hit? Do you think things are being tipped? Are you giving away things? Or are you thinking, no, this is my repertoire speed? What is it?
I never really think that I'm tipping pitches or that it's being picked. I'm confident enough in my stuff that I can tell a hitter what's coming and feel like I can still get him out. For me, it's generally that my speed differentials are off. I'm either too hard or too soft, and I'm out of balance on that. Early 2017, I was throwing way too much, too high of a percentage of hard stuff, fastballs, four seams, two seams, cutters, and not enough slow with the curveball, a slider, or a changeup. Once I kind of reorganized that and got it back into the right balance, then hitters have to deal with the front to back, the 95, the 85, 78 with the curveball. They have to deal with left to right, the two seam, the four seam, the cutter, the slider. They have to deal up and down, four seam, slider, curveball. So it becomes a three-dimensional approach. You can be really good as a two-dimensional pitcher, not so much if you're a one-dimensional pitcher, if you're just working hard, in one dimension at the plate. So that's generally what I go to is, are my pitch mixes out of balance?
Great stuff. It's amazing. Like when you sit here and you talk to Pedro Martinez, Smoltz, Slider, they had to use their inner computer. You've got tools now to dig it. You've got to want to get after it and be consistent.
No doubt. And you still need the inner computer when you're out there.
Yeah.
You got to compete. You can't be thinking of all this stuff when you're actually on the mound. But preparation-wise, going into the game with a little bit better of a plan so that when you are competing, you're maximizing what you have with the competitiveness. That's where the game's really changing.